Africa leading economy in 2022. African continents have the richest concentration of natural resources such as oil, copper, diamonds, bauxite, lithium, gold, hardwood forests, and tropical fruits. It is estimated that 30% of the Earth's mineral resources are found in the African continent. Additionally, Africa has the world's biggest precious metal reserves on Earth. Africa is among the wealthiest economy across the globe with a total GDP of $8,045 billion in 2022. The International Monetary Fund and World Bank use gross domestic product, GDP, to calculate personal consumption expenditures, business investment, government expenditures, and net exports. Gross domestic product, GDP, is the sum of all the final expenses or the total economic output of an economy within a specified accounting period. That tells you what a country is good at producing. GDP is the country's total economic output for each year. The higher the GDP growth, the higher the expected increase in economic growth. Here are on our list African countries with top gross domestic product in 2022. Number 10, Ghana. $73.894 billion nominal GDP. The Ghanaian economy is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and it relies on a variety of industries to function. The service sector, which accounts for about 3/4 of the Ghanaian GDP, includes tourism, mining, construction, communications, and financial services. The Ghanaian economy has succeeded in revising its GDP growth, which dropped from 6.0% in 2019 to 0.5% in 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic effects. Ghanaian economy GDP has bounced to 5.4 percentage points in 2021, and in the 2022 budget, the government projected an overall real GDP growth rate of 5.8%. Just like every other African country, Ghana bursts with vast natural resources, which includes diamonds, manganese, bauxite, and oil. Ghana is Africa's largest gold producer and second largest cocoa producer. Ghana major exports include oil producing of over 206 UO barrels of oil per day, gold, cocoa, timber, tuna, bauxite, aluminum, manganese, diamonds, and horticultural products. Number 9. Tanzania. $77.506 billion nominal GDP. Historically, Tanzania has been an exporter of agricultural products to other countries such as India. Also, tourism provides a more stable source of income for the country's economy. Tanzania has over 6,425 acres of forest land under protection filled with timbers and the best enticing wildlife in Africa. And of course, Tanzania is home to Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest mountain. The economy of Tanzania is a lower middle income economy that is overwhelmingly dependent on agriculture. Tanzania is the third richest East African country with rapid positive GDP growth from 4.8% to 5.8% in 2022 due to improved performance of the tourism sector and the reopening of trade corridors. The economy is boosted by strong gold prices. Coffee is the most important cash crop in Tanzania, and the country ranks among the world's top producers. Main exports are gold, manufactured goods, tobacco, fish products, coffee, cashew, cotton, and cloves. Number 8. Ethiopia. $105.325 billion nominal GDP. Ethiopia is the second most populous country in Africa, just behind Nigeria, and the 13th most populous in the entire world. It belongs to the richest African country because of its huge population. Ethiopia is the oldest independent country in Africa. Ethiopia also stands as the only African country that has never been colonized. Ethiopia's capital city, Addis Ababa, is the highest in Africa. The country relies heavily on agriculture, which accounts for more than 40% of its GDP and 80% of employment in the country. The service sector covers around 43.6%, while the industry sector amounts for 21.6% of the total annual GDP. The economy of Ethiopia is a mixed and transition economy with a large public sector. The government pushed ahead with privatization efforts to expand the private sector of its economy. among all the top products exported from Ethiopia. Coffee contributes 15.38% of its total trade value, equal to $412,368. The second exports are oilseeds and oleaginous fruits, which account for 7.00%. Among other exports are coffee, gold, leather products, live animals, etc. Number 7. Kenya. Kenya appears to be the seventh of the top richest African countries with nominal GDP of $114.679 billion. Kenya's economy relies heavily on agriculture. It is the mainstay of the country, employing about 72% of Kenyans and contributing 25% to Kenya's GDP. Agriculture also makes up more than half of export earnings. The service and industry sectors provide 47.5% and 17.8%, respectively. The Kenyan government is working hard to revive its economy through various means, including infrastructure development and agricultural diversification. With so much potential for growth in these areas, Kenya is poised to achieve significant success as it moves into the future. Kenya is the second richest country in East Africa. Main exports are small-scale consumer goods like plastic, furniture, batteries, textiles, clothing, soap, cigarettes, flour, and agricultural products. Kenya has over 50 national parks, which are great to visit. The most popular of these is Nairobi National Park, located in its capital city. It shares a border with Uganda and Tanzania, with the second largest freshwater lake in the world, Lake Victoria. Lamu Old Town is one of the 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites and is great for cultural trips to explore the history of the region. And of course, Mombasa Tusks on Wa Avenue, built in 1952 to commemorate the visit of Queen Elizabeth II to the country. Number 6. Angola. $124.862 billion nominal GDP. The Angolan economy has experienced many drastic shocks since its existence from the Portuguese colony in the 15th century. First was the protracted war for the country's independence, which came successful in 1975, followed by the civil war that broke up immediately after the independence, which lasted so long till 2002. This led to a drastic loss in the economy and was followed by famine in the country. The citizen had to rely on food aid to get by. It was indeed a long and difficult journey for the economy to bounce to its state status as one of the richest economies in Africa, but all tributes go to the country's petroleum industry. Angola is the second highest oil producer after Nigeria, producing 1.39 billion oil barrels a day. 1/3 of its GDP comes from oil exportation, which makes up 90% of Angola's exports. As of 2020, Angola's GDP stood at -4%, indicating an economic downtrend. This was caused by the plunging oil prices that followed the early onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, as things begin to cool off, Angola's economy has recovered by 7%, going from -4% in 2020 to 3% in 2021, as the global price of oil begins to normalize. Angola's main exports are hydrocarbons, which include petroleum and natural gas, diamonds, coffee, timber, fish, and sisal. Number 5. Morocco. $133.062 billion nominal GDP. The Kingdom of Morocco is among the northern African country to emerge as one of the richest African country by GDP. Morocco was able to set up its economy through the pursuit of economic reforms and privatization of state-owned enterprises. This move led to an increase in investment in all sectors, thus boosting the economy. Morocco's GDP growth rate is predicted to hit 5.3% this year. This is a good rebound from its economic recession in 2020, a first in 2 decades. During this time, Morocco's GDP growth rate declined by -5.9%. Agriculture continues to lead Morocco's economic recovery. The services sector, which makes up more than half of Morocco's GDP, is yet to recover from the impact of the pandemic. The economic forecast shows Morocco's economy should return to its pre-pandemic level this year. Morocco's main exports are citrus fruits, wines, textiles, fertilizer, vegetables, and canned fish. Number 4. Algeria. $193.601 billion of nominal GDP. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 struck very harsh effects on Algeria's economy as a result of the sole dependency on hydrocarbons. So, when the transportation and other energy-driven sector were shut down, of course, demand for crude oil was reduced and the price per barrel declined. This led to negative effects on Algeria's revenue, which brought depreciation and inflation to the country. Algeria's GDP growth rate for 2020 was minus 5.48%, a 6.28% decline from 2019. The Algeria GDP growth rate is projected to trend around 2.30% in 2022. Key exports include petroleum and natural gas, Algeria producing over 1 million oil barrels a day. Other major exports are phosphate, leather goods, vegetable, and tobacco. Number 3. South Africa. South Africa has $426.166 billion of nominal GDP. South Africa has made a great stride and has become one of the richest African countries and is classified as an industrialized country by the World Bank. Part of what has fueled this development is manufacturing and agriculture. Also, another big factor that contributes to South Africa's GDP is its mineral resources, like gold and other mineral mining, including diamond, contribute a significant portion of the labor force. In addition, coal mining also contributes profitably to the nation as the source of electricity supply. South Africa's major exports include gold, diamond, military equipment, base metals, coal, and agric products like meat, fish, and fruits. It also provides favorite tourist sites, which include the Cape of Hope, Kruger National Park, and more. Number 2. Egypt. Egypt has $435.621 billion of nominal GDP. Egypt appears to be the second richest economy by gross domestic product (GDP) in Africa. This beacon of ancient civilization boasted a truly diversified economy in the whole of Africa, drawing its revenues from several sources such as petroleum, natural gas, agriculture, media, and tourism. With regards to petroleum and natural gas, Egypt produces above 578,000 barrels per day and also gains from hydro energy. Tourism is another sector of the Egyptian economy. With a profitable revenue, it is home to the World Heritage Sites and offers the best place to quench the taste of Mother Nature. It is estimated that about 3.6 million tourists visited the country in 2019, generating over $12.27 billion for the economy. The invention of massive irrigation by the governments in agriculture has increased the outputs and all year-round cultivation, backsliding the demographic nature of the country, which showcases 96% of the total land area to be deserted. Major exports are petrol and petrol products, cotton, rice, onions, citrus, and garlic. Lastly, the number 1 on our list of the richest economy by GDP in 2022 is Nigeria, with over $517.588 billion of nominal GDP. Nigeria, the giant of Africa, the second most populous country in Africa, and the most largely diversified economy in West African countries. The country records around 1.6 million barrels of crude oil a day according to OPEC, making it the largest exporter of crude oil in Africa. These petroleum exports make up 10% of the total GDP and over 80% of the export sector revenue. In addition to petroleum, Nigeria has an abundance of raw materials and natural resources, contributing to the region's wealth. These include coal, limestone, zinc, lead, tin, natural gas, niobium, and iron ore. There is also sufficient fertile land for agriculture, which is responsible for over 20% of the GDP, producing cocoa and rubber. The large population has helped to propel Nigeria as the largest consumer retailer in Africa, and the digitally aware residents have contributed to the country's fast-growing tech sector. According to the World Bank, Nigeria's GDP grew 7% year-on-year between 2000 and 2014, one of the fastest rates in Africa. This has slowed to 2% in recent years due to political instability, socioeconomic factors, oil, and production shocks. The country has placed a strong emphasis on protecting its natural resources, trying to move away from its large reliance on oil refineries and processing plants. Thanks for staying tuned to our channel, and if you are just watching our video for the first time, please subscribe, hit the notification button so you don't miss out on our next video, and lastly, drop your comments before dashing out.